Picture this rush hour in Los Angeles. Sun baking the freeway. The air shimmers with heat and the asphalt seems to radiate waves of discomfort. The city, known for its glitz and glamour, now reveals a different side, one where the daily grind takes center stage. Traffic, a sea of metal crawling forward, each car a tiny island of frustration, inching its way through the urban jungle. The drivers, trapped in their steel cages, are all too aware of the minutes ticking away, lost forever in this mechanical purgatory. Suddenly a cacophony erupts. Horns blare, tires screech, the symphony of the city reaches a fever pitch, a discordant melody of impatience and anger. It's as if the very soul of the city is crying out in frustration. Two cars, a battered pickup and a sleek Mercedes, are locked in a high-speed ballet of aggression. The pickup, its paint chipped and body dented, seems to snarl at the world. The Mercedes, polished to a mirror finish, glides with an air of superiority. They dance dangerously close, each maneuver a challenge, a taunt. The pickup driver, face contorted in fury, slams his fist against his horn. His eyes, wild with rage, dart from side to side, searching for an opening, a way to assert his dominance. The horn's blare is a primal scream, a declaration of war. The Mercedes driver, a vision of sleek composure, responds with a single, arrogant gesture. His face remains impassive, a mask of indifference. To him, the pickup is nothing more than a minor annoyance, a fly to be swatted away. It's a scene straight out of a Hollywood action flick, but with real-life consequences. The stakes are high and the potential for disaster looms large. Each swerve, each acceleration brings them closer to the brink. This, my friends, is road rage in its purest, most unadulterated form. It's a raw, visceral display of human emotion, stripped of all pretense. The veneer of civilization cracks, revealing the primal instincts that lie beneath. It's the ugly underbelly of our love affair with the automobile, a toxic cocktail of frustration, impatience, and a healthy dose of territorial instinct. We like to think of our cars as extensions of ourselves, symbols of freedom and power, but in moments like these, they become cages, trapping us in our own anger. And trust me, it's more common than you might think. Every day on highways and streets around the world, drivers succumb to the dark side of their nature. They lash out, driven by a potent mix of stress and anonymity. It's a dangerous game, one that can have deadly consequences. So next time you find yourself behind the wheel, remember, the road is a shared space. A little patience and understanding can go a long way in keeping the symphony of screeching tires from turning into a tragic opera. So what transforms otherwise mild-mannered citizens into snarling road warriors? It's a question that has puzzled psychologists, traffic experts, and everyday drivers alike. The phenomenon of road rage is as old as the automobile itself, but its causes are multifaceted and deeply rooted in human behavior. Well, the answer, like most things in life, is complicated. It's not just one thing that sets people off, it's a combination of factors that create a perfect storm of frustration and anger. Sometimes it's a genuine misunderstanding. A driver might not see another car in their blind spot, or they might misjudge the speed of an oncoming vehicle. These small errors can lead to big reactions. A missed turn signal, a perceived slight, a lane change that feels a tad too aggressive. These seemingly minor infractions can trigger an outsized response, especially if the driver on the receiving end is already having a bad day. Other times it's the result of plain old bad driving. Some people just aren't very good at navigating the complexities of modern traffic, and their mistakes can be infuriating to those around them. Tailgating, weaving in and out of traffic, running red lights, these are all surefire ways to ignite the fury of your fellow motorists. It's as if some drivers believe they're the only ones on the road, and everyone else is just an obstacle in their way. But the real culprit, the root of all road rage evil, is something far more insidious: stress. It's the silent killer that lurks behind the wheel, turning even the calmest individuals into ticking time bombs. We live in a world obsessed with speed and efficiency. Every second counts, and any delay feels like a personal affront. This constant pressure to be on time, to be productive, to be perfect, creates a simmering pot of stress that can boil over at any moment. We're constantly bombarded with deadlines, demands, and the nagging feeling that we're running late. It's no wonder that when we get behind the wheel, all that pent-up anxiety has to go somewhere. The car becomes a pressure cooker, and the slightest provocation can release a torrent of rage. And when we get behind the wheel, all that pent-up anxiety has to go somewhere. Unfortunately, that somewhere is often directed at the poor sap in the next lane. It's a vicious cycle where stress begets anger, and anger begets more stress. So the next time you feel the beast behind the wheel starting to rear its ugly head, take a deep breath. Remember that we're all in this together, and a little patience can go a long way in making the roads a safer place for everyone. Now, I'm not saying all road rage incidents end in fiery crashes and epic showdowns. Sometimes they result in situations so bizarre, so utterly ridiculous that you can't help but laugh. Take, for example, the case of the man who, enraged by a perceived insult, chased another driver for miles, only to discover they were both headed to the same family reunion. Or the woman who, in a fit of pique, rammed her car into a parking spot occupied by a shopping cart, only to realize it was attached to her own vehicle. These stories might sound like something out of a sitcom, but they're a stark reminder that road rage, for all its seriousness, can also be incredibly absurd. Section 4. Did they really just... Reactions to remember. And then there are the reactions, the moments of pure, unfiltered human emotion that make you question everything you thought you knew about your fellow man. Like the time a frustrated driver, stuck in a traffic jam, decided to relieve himself on the roof of his own car, or the elderly gentleman who, cut off by a speeding teenager, calmly pulled alongside the offending vehicle and proceeded to knit. Yes, knit. With needles and yarn and everything. These are the stories that remind us that the open road is a melting pot of human experience, a place where the sublime and the ridiculous collide in a symphony of rubber, asphalt, and unbridled emotion. Section 5. Road rage. A global epidemic, but let's not kid ourselves. Road rage is no laughing matter. It's a serious problem, one that affects millions of drivers worldwide. In the United States alone, aggressive driving is a factor in over 50% of fatal crashes. That's right, folks. Over half of the people who die on American roads each year do so because someone decided to vent their frustration behind the wheel. And it's not just the United States, from the crowded streets of Mumbai to the Autobahn in Germany. Road rage is a global epidemic, a testament to the darker side of our shared human experience. Section 6. Keeping your cool when the asphalt heats up. Driving can be a stressful experience, especially when the asphalt heats up and tempers start to flare. But maintaining your composure behind the wheel is not just about keeping yourself calm, it's about ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone on the road. So what can we do about it? How do we break the cycle of anger, aggression, and automotive mayhem that seems to plague our streets? It starts with each and every one of us. We need to remember that the car in front of us is not an obstacle, but a vehicle driven by another human being. A human being with their own hopes, dreams, and, yes, frustrations. When we recognize this, it becomes easier to be patient and understanding. Think about the last time you were in a rush. Maybe you were late for an important meeting, or perhaps you were just eager to get home after a long day. In those moments, it's easy to see other drivers as obstacles in your path. But what if we shifted our perspective? What if we saw them as fellow travelers, each with their own destination and their own reasons for being on the road? By changing the way we view other drivers, we can change the way we react to them. Instead of getting angry when someone cuts us off, we can take a deep breath and let it go. Instead of honking our horn in frustration, we can remind ourselves that everyone makes mistakes. We can also take practical steps to reduce our stress levels while driving. For example, leaving a little earlier can give us more time to reach our destination without feeling rushed. Listening to calming music or a favorite podcast can help keep our mood positive. And practicing mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing can help us stay centered and focused. It's also important to remember that our actions behind the wheel can have a ripple effect. When we drive calmly and courteously, we set a positive example for others. We can inspire other drivers to do the same, creating a more peaceful and cooperative driving environment for everyone. We need to learn to be more patient, more understanding, and a lot less inclined to reach for the horn at the slightest provocation. Because, at the end of the day, the road is a shared space, and it's up to all of us to make it a little less hostile, one journey at a time. So next time you find yourself getting frustrated behind the wheel, take a moment to pause, breathe, and remember that we're all in this together. Let's make our roads safer and more pleasant for everyone, because at the end of the day, the road is a shared space, and it's up to all of us to make it a little less hostile, one journey at a time. By practicing patience, empathy, and mindfulness, we can transform our driving experience and contribute to a more harmonious road environment. Let's commit to keeping our cool when the asphalt heats up, for the sake of our own well-being and the well-being of everyone around us.